Welcome to Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas. Backed by popular demand is the intrepid Drake Bailey for another question and answer session. You may want to make some popcorn and buckle your seatbelt. This one will be another wild ride. Here is your host, Gail of Gaia, with her guest, Drake Bailey.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. I'm here today on Thursday, once again, with Drake Bailey, and we have some interesting news and some great questions for you, Drake. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. We made it to the barbershop and got back, and I actually don't look too bad when I get trimmed up.
You're all trimmed up. That's awesome.
ready to show up on camera like I should be instead of. My wife says I look like Gabby Hayes when it gets out about here. So, she told me she wasn't going to put up with that shit, and I said, "Oh, okay."
Some people say you look like Smurf.
Quit it. I ain't blue.
Well, take away the blue color.
Okay.
Anyway.
But I'll see about validating Pelosi's arrest. If everything is what it says it is, that means that the arrest was for treason and negates all her rights. That's where it comes into the part where she can't have counsel and that sort of thing.
Yes.
When you pull felonious treason automatically costs you all your rights. You don't have any. And they can do anything they want to with you.
And we're talking about Nancy Pelosi.
Well, they could, if they really felt like they wanted to, they could put a gun to her head and blow her brains out. All nice and legal.
Wow.
So
yeah, we're talking about
Schumer. Now, well, the little thing I read was that Schumer was running back to the Capitol or something, acting like there was some kind of emergency. What's going to be fun is when he gets there and they arrest his butt along with hers.
Maybe you should read that little. Do you have it handy by any chance?
No, I don't. The only way I got it is on Skype.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I saw it there too. Basically, we're talking about Nancy Pelosi being arrested, and Drake is confirming that, correct?
Well, I'm saying I don't have validation yet.
Okay.
Now, what I'm doing is waiting on validation. If what they say is true, she's in deep, very deep. Most of the felonious treason cases have been referred to be punishment as execution.
Mm-hmm. Well, not only does it go deep with the fact that tearing up the president's speech, but I also
the speech didn't have anything to do with it.
Oh, okay. What was it?
They had a little bit of a record at the back of it, and you're not allowed to destroy records. Oops.
Oh, okay.
That's only one of many of the things that she has, perpetrated or caused to happen or whatever, or been involved with. And so without the full specification, I'm not sure exactly what it is or its validity. If they get to, I know what crime she's guilty of. Schiff and Nader are also should be on the chopping block. Now this is the fourth one out of this set of 5 that are supposed to be charged this way. After this, there's 5 more.
Yeah, well, I don't know if this is true either, so I've just put this out there. I also
I'm validating it, and I got some pretty good people that are good at that. So
okay, I meant the part about her trying to shake the president's hand.
Well, that doesn't mean much, except that from the report it states that she was using a ring to try to poison somebody. Well. What this does is this literally makes her not only an enemy of the state, which is pretty obvious, but also depending on who put her up to this, depends on whether or not she would be considered an agent of a foreign nation. And if that's the case, then she probably will be executed.
Wow. Yeah.
Well,
Well,
there's a bunch of executable offenses. One person at one time, a long time ago, went after a president and internal security. That's security within the White House, not necessarily Secret Service or anything, but security within the White House. Went after him, and they chased him out onto the White House lawn. At which point they ran into the president's private army, and I understand they had over 100 bullet wounds.
wow.
They collected the body, and the body's been secreted away and buried. It was disposed of. The president has had a secret army ever since the beginning of the country, and a lot of people are not aware of that. What would you call him? Chief of Security, and that's for everything. White House, I'm trying to think here. The White House grounds, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, probably wasn't one of those back then, but Chief of Security, Chief Law Enforcement Officer, which is now BAR. Well, when this came out, that there had been a summary execution on the White House lawn, the whole thing went poof and disappeared. It's very secret, but it's there. And the people that are involved in it, oh my goodness gracious, they are not people to be fooled with. They are the best of the best. Just that, seriously. They're the kind of people who can sneak up on somebody, do something funky to them, and disappear, and there won't be any evidence they were ever there. Not a footprint, fingerprint, nobody saw it. They don't show. Now, there's a trick to this. There is an electric cape. It's got a hood, cape on from cover to body. It's an electric cape. And what's interesting about it is that you can't pick up that individual on video of any kind.
Does it make them invisible?
Do what?
Does it make them invisible?
No.
No.
Just to the video cameras, and somebody wanted to snap a picture with a smartphone or something of that nature.
Oh, okay.
Regular standard photography will show it. That's the only way I know that it shows. And got to remember, this is back a ways. Okay. I would imagine they've made some pretty far out improvements in the technology since the time that it was first discovered. So, they do have invisibility cloaks. If you combine the two, that would be pretty awesome. Then you would not be able to detect the person. Motion detectors, infrared and all that, they don't detect it. It's just like you're a ghosty. Can you imagine how much fun it would be to haunt certain people in political positions? Oh my, standing up in front of a crowd and all of a sudden something unzips your zipper. Ooh.
Oh my goodness, that would be funny.
Or drops your drawers, or,
Oh my. Okay, I got to tell you a little funny, okay?
Wow.
You know what? They found out what Schiff's middle name was. Do you know? It's Adam Fuller Schiff.
Oh, okay. That fits somehow. Let me turn this light on. Oh. Make me a little more visible.
It made me laugh anyway. Yeah, we like to see you.
Let me pick the other one. We hit both of them. What the hey? Why not? Am I scary enough?
Okay, you gotta be careful. They'll be calling you unprofessional now.
I lost a radio show over that.
Oh, well, anyway.
I've heard they're not doing too well over there either. They're trying to get out information that's not correct, among other things. I've offered to assist, but I haven't had the first squeak out of anybody over there. I think they're kind of don't want to fool with me. Crazy hellbelly.
Well, they took quite a hit, I think, when you left. So,
Not my
It's
problem.
been good. It's been good for me, Drake.
Well, the thing I noticed was a whole bunch of incorrect information. It was partially correct, but not full. Coming from news leaks, coming from Dunn. I mean, I know Muggsy well enough that I don't think that she would ever, in any way, shape, or form, put out misleading or false information or information that was incorrect. I don't believe that of her in a minute.
I agree. I mean, she has integrity, and I think she does her best to put out, the truth.
Yeah.
Any one of us could get bad information. I mean, that can happen to anybody.
Well, but the thing is this, okay? She has this ET, she calls George.
George, yeah.
Okay. Well, I looked him up and met him upstairs.
Oh, really?
And he's quite an interesting individual. You get information directly from him, and it's fairly accurate. Now, by fairly accurate, I mean more so than most anybody else I know of. Okay?
Okay.
Now, as to changes, don't forget I said that there was going to be some heavy-duty changes in the governmental structure, people that were sitting in offices or holding positions and all that.
Right.
It's happening. All of the
it is.
Well, all of the really bad people have been removed from office. That one poor colonel, lieutenant colonel, or whatever he was, got sent back to the Pentagon. He's going to be stuck in an office pushing paper, and the paper isn't going to amount to nothing. He's just, serve out your time, and you can retire. And we don't want to see you after you retire. Just go home, disappear.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you have to. Most people don't have the understanding as to getting what's really going on in terms of the attitudes and policy takes that have been coming into place more and more so as Trump continues his presidency, and that primarily is that the U.S. is back. Now, we're not going to be nasty unless you don't allow us to do anything other than that. I've had people tell me that that general that Trump wiped out was supposed to be some kind of good guy. All of the fake news, all of the media, all the fake news people said, "Oh, you're nasty. Oh, you didn't get permission." Well, you don't have to have permission, among other things. And the reason that Trump specified that was the leakage. Every time he puts something out officially that's supposed to be kept quiet, confidential, you don't say nothing, it gets leaked like a mother, and usually directly to the individuals, people, or organizations involved. And he stipulated that. He said, you didn't get a chance to leak it. Oh, that works pretty well for me. Now, like I said, they got 4. They've removed 3, and if Pelosi would be number 5 in this particular group. As I understand it, they're going to do piecemeal groups, anywhere from 5 to 10 at a time. Now, when Trump elucidated to the fact that the Justice Department was making available special holding places for several, he didn't say how many, several high-level, well-known politicians. And I thought, ooh. So what is happening is that is a two-way deal. If you try to charge somebody with treason, supposedly it takes 2 people going before Congress, presenting their case, charges, or whatever, supposedly. That's only one part of the overall picture. And the second part of the overall picture is you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to have witnesses or nothing if it's part of the public record. And, well, Pelosi's been on the public record for quite some time, off and on, in varying ways, spouting treasonous actions to be taken against the president. As soon I know if this is true, and it probably would fit very well, it was announced that there's going to be a whole bunch more investigations and all this other happy stuff. And I don't know about everybody else, but I've had enough of that. I mean,
I know. I think everybody feels the same way, Drake.
Well, it's like flush the toilet and get done with it. And they don't want to quit. Okay, well, fine. Maybe if you remove a few of these people that got a mouth the size of an alligator, maybe if and there's other resolutions that are coming out in terms of resolving problems, and the only way to solve them is to use a gun. Only way. Now, I am really surprised that in the state of Virginia they have not had an uprising yet. Right now, they're promoting legislation. That's today, promoting legislation that allows them to confiscate, as they call them, assault weapons, without compensation. Number one, they're not going to get very far. Number two, anybody who votes for that thing is guilty of insurrective treason. Not necessarily felony level. Now, the governor, he would be guilty of felony level treason. You might expect to see him disappear sometime in the near future. I mean, they seem to be trying to collect people. Well, if that's the case, then there's a whole bunch of them that need to go.
Yeah, really.
Now,
they're trying to do that in Arizona now too. I read that they're trying to put out in the legislature to confiscate assault weapons here. That's not go over well. We're in the Wild West here, and people can carry here.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, the oath of office, all of them. Okay, stipulate that you are to uphold, and defend the Constitution. Period. There's no ifs, ands, buts, and adjustments and wiggle rooms and any of that crap. That doesn't exist. Seriously, it does not exist. That means that and I looked it up, if you violate the oath of office, and I posted this on our Cosmic Voice Facebook page, you're looking at up to 10 years in prison. Okay. First, removal of all privileges to include your seat, etc. Secondly, you're looking at up to 10 years in prison and a $50,000 fine. That's minimum. Okay, now, if you're convicted of this stuff, just as they were looking to impeach Trump, if Trump had been impeached, which everybody knew he wasn't going to be, you're looking at never being able to hold any governmental position, right down to dog catcher, trash man. You can't do it. It's not allowed. So,
well, maybe they like to flip burgers at
what?
Fast food place. So maybe they'd like to flip burgers at a fast food place.
Yeah, right. Go ahead.
Would that apply to law enforcement people as well?
It applies to everybody who took an oath of office, because the oath of office doesn't deviate, period. In all cases, federal law overrules any other level of law, state, county, city, etc. This is one of the reasons that the Department of Justice is looking into totally cutting off all federal aid to anybody who is involved in the sanctuary horse hockey. Okay, they went through court once and it didn't work because of the manner in which it was presented. This is different. In other words, if you're not willing to abide by the confederation that you agreed to in terms of becoming a state, then they can remove that too. They can take your statehood. But the neat part is they can take anybody and everybody that's involved in all that. Declare yourself a sanctuary, and you become a sanctuary model prisoner. So,
wow. Well, will we be able to have enforcement of that, Drake?
Well, there are a lot of people in differing agencies that are clean, clear, and upstanding, let's say. And by upstanding, I'm talking about people that go along with the law and the Constitution. This is what your radical left winging socialists and all this are disagreeing with. They want to make up the law as they go, and it ain't gonna work that way.
Yeah.
It can't. It's already been set in a lot of ways in precedent and other things. But there's a whole bunch of things that also can come together that negates certain aspects of a lot of the law enforcement that is not correct. So,
well, some of it they haven't been taught correctly either.
It doesn't matter. They're not allowed to be on the street unless they understand what's going on. It's like a contract, and this is neat. Any contract between two people, two individuals, okay, has to be fully understood by both. If you say you don't understand, negates contract. Real simple, like, okay. The militias can, and this is something a lot of people are not aware of, become a law enforcement or a portion of the law enforcement within a state, whatever state they're in. Okay, so this means that anybody who violates the law, doesn't matter what their stature, standing, etc. might be, office they hold, they can all be snatcherooned and put in the pokey. All of them. Now that includes the Attorney General of Virginia decided to shut up after he said that sanctuary didn't mean anything. We're making our county Second Amendment sanctuary. You can't do that. Well, guess what, dude? You got a license to practice, don't you? What would you do without that, Flip Burgers? Well, okay. You get into things when you have a responsibility and you don't uphold it, that can negate things like licenses, practice law. How about a broadcast license? Ooh, yeah, that's right. The FCC is retooling. Federal Communications is retooling, okay, along with all of this bogus horse hockey, dealing with robocalls and all that happy stuff. Bingo. Each and every last phone company there's already one rule on the books, is required to have software on their systems that can determine a call being bogus. In other words, if it's made up or it's a robocall and it doesn't go through. Oops. Now, the people that do this are liable under violation of the FCC regulations, and those regulations are based on federal law. You cannot do certain things. If you do, you become liable. Oh my goodness. What are you going to take from me? Well, let's start with your broadcast license. See how that got me on. All you got to do, in order to cause self-enforcement, and people that comply with the law, in other words, you don't run around doing 100 miles an hour down the road because the speed limit's less than that. It is a true safety factor. I understand it, and I don't disagree. But certain laws, when they watching, apply to these people, and they are totally unaware. They don't get it. So,
want to know something funny? One of our listeners sent us, I think I forwarded it to you, about the Supreme Court and the driver's license thing.
Uh-huh.
I tried to copy and paste that onto Facebook on my page. They wouldn't allow it. They said it didn't meet their community standards.
Well, they're making that shit up.
I said, how can it not meet your community standards? It's from the Supreme
when they got
Court.
terrorists, white supremacists, black supremacists, and whomever else on there.
I know, isn't that?
You don't. At that point, you don't have community standards. They don't exist. Yeah. Now, here's the deal. A lot of these companies are, because of their size. Oh, they're going to love this one. Are looking at becoming public companies, better known as a utility. In other words, that's the way it's going to be treated in terms of the law. And because they are a public company, guess what? All them little inconvenient pieces of junk called amendments in the Constitution, guess what?
Mm. And censorship is going to go by.
It's all, well, what are they censoring? That's the question. And the question becomes conservatives or anybody else that disagrees with their particular political philosophy. Okay, a public company ain't allowed to do that.
Yeah, it was from the Supreme Court. It was all constitutional, and they said it would meet their community standards. I'm going,
Yeah, yeah. Let me see something here. Hold on a second. I gotta grab an article real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Take me a minute.
Okay. It's amazing what Facebook does and gets away with. It won't be much longer, though. I hope the same thing happens to television stations, and so on, because they're programming. That's why they call it programming. They're programming you to believe what they want you to believe. That's why I watch very little television. Hopefully Drake can find his article. But this was an excellent article from someone in the listening audience that was sent to me under questions for Drake, and I want to thank you for that. Like I said, I tried to post it on Facebook, but they wouldn't have it. I might see if I can get it posted in some other manner at some point in time. It's a PDF file, and there's difficulty in posting them for some reason. But I have one guy who helps me with some of this, and just like they had hacked Drake's books, I can't tell you how many times now, at least 3 times now. And it takes a lot of time and energy to put that back together and make it available to you again. I was told by someone else that, Michael, that books were available on Amazon and Lulu, but I believe you have to pay for them there. I don't know if Drake gets any royalties off of that, but we were posting them for free on a PDF file. So we'll continue to do that and try to keep up with it, but if it's not available, it's been hacked again. So try to get it as soon as I post it, and I should be able to put this one up with this video under the description, assuming that they don't hack it. Otherwise, then I can't. Just like this last one, it was hacked, and so I couldn't put it under the video in the description. I've noticed that many people don't read the description. I would encourage you to, because that's where the books have been posted in the past. And the link was good for a little while, but not until it got hacked. So all we can do is work with that. Eventually, all this. All right, did you find it?
No.
Oh, bummer. Okay. Well, I'm
not happy about that either, not being able to find it.
No.
What is this?
It's probably right near where you are or something like that. That's what happens to me sometimes.
Yeah, well, sometimes I end up with stuff on the desk, but this time it's not here. Huh, okay. Dang it. That's a heavy load.
What's it about, if I might ask?
Freedom. And the way it's stated is very simple. The Supreme Court has ruled that we do have a right to information, irrespective as to what somebody else might think about that, meaning that nobody can ban information, irrespective as to how funky it might be. Groceries or convenience stores or whatever may not say you can't have gun magazines in the magazine rack. They can't do that. It's been through the Supreme Court. Supreme Court says, yes, you do have a right to the information. Well, and private companies, and this is interesting, thought it would be cute to discriminate against blacks or other people of different non-whites, let's say. And the problem is that the Supreme Court said you can't do that. You can't discriminate. Okay, you also cannot discriminate in the information available to people, that we have a right to that information. I'll find it. that book. I guarantee you I will. I know it's around here somewhere. I just don't know what I did with it. But the civil rights cases and things of that nature are based in the ideology of freedom of information. Doesn't have as much to do with the Second Amendment as such, but it does bear on it in that the Second Amendment stipulates shall not be infringed. The right of the people to keep and bear arms. Keep means own, hold, have control of. Bear means to carry. And a lot of people don't get the idea. Apparently, Virginia has decided to go over the top. As I said, they're looking at confiscation of what they define as assault weapons. Anything that looks like an assault weapon, AR-15, that sort of thing. And the problem with that is that it's illegal, especially without compensation. Now, compensation on an average decent gun with a decent scope is in the anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 range, and they'll probably ain't got the money, among other little problems they'll probably run across. But I'll find that magazine. I just don't know where I put it right now. And,
that'd be crazy when I can't find something I'm looking for. Like,
oh, I hate that, and I don't know what happened to it. But anyway, the neat part about all of this is that the Supreme Court sides with the individual in terms of the application of what is stipulated in the Constitution, not what Virginia thinks or oil can Harry down the block wants to do. Don't have anything to do with it. So that's a big part of it. Then you got the other fun and games. The other fun and games are dealing with things that they don't have any evidence for. E.T. cannot exist because we don't have any evidence. Horse hockey. Did you ever hear of Roswell, New Mexico? I mean, then they've got, altogether there's been 50 crashes, give or take, in the United States alone, where they got evidence, different kinds of technical systems, and the whole 9 yards. So, we couldn't, it's like, let's see here, what's this guy's name? Lieutenant General Stephen L. Quast. He's stipulating, we got to have this Space Force that President Trump talks about. The problem is that interior bureaucrats, military leaders across the Department of Defense, especially in the Air Force, have been resisting the president's directive in every way they can. Well, there's a problem with that. The Space Force has existed for a long time. I will give you some dates that people can look up, all right? NASA, and this started in 1945. Remember the Volcraft that the Germans were using, that sort of stuff?
yes.
Now, we've been in deep space since 1956. A lot different than we had a mothership completed in 1967. The whole Space Force has been active from 1971 to present. This guy needs a briefing. I have a lot more information that I will not regurgitate publicly.
Wasn't that one of the things that was one of the most highly classified?
Yeah, it's worse. It's like Blue Book. They got this show out about Blue Book. What a crock of crap. I read the part of Blue Book that they don't put out, period. Ooh, it's above top secret. Why? Because we don't want nobody to know. Oh, really? Well, I found out about it. Want to hear the particular specifics? They don't like that shit at all. Last time I got into something of this nature at this level, they turned the electrical grid off to stop the show.
Wow.
There's some things
Why are they trying to hide this? What's
well, that's it. They don't, okay, several reasons. They tried to hide UFOs for the simple fact that UFOs were far superior to anything we had. Just that simple. Meaning we didn't have any national security. We couldn't fight back or shoot at them and hit the target. Well, you don't want to scare the shit out of the people. You don't let it out. UFOs don't exist. It's swamp gas, weather balloons, reflections off of the atmosphere from Lake Erie. I mean, any damn thing they can think of, you know. So then you have the other problem. There's no evidence. Horse shit.
Thank you.
Area 51, 1948, bullshit. We had a crash out there and we collected everything we could find. Well, there's a lot that they missed. And, they don't like that very much, but doesn't matter. Why doesn't it matter? That was one of, let's see, they had one in 1941 out west that crashed, and not near the same area, but it crashed out there. They snatched it all up. And they went, everything that they got, now you're going to love this, went to a place called Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base directs NASA as to how to conduct their business. Now, the other question is, if NASA is in charge of space, as they say at National Aeronautics and Space Administration, and we're no longer shooting rockets off. We're not sending shuttles anywhere. Why does it have billions of dollars in funding? For what? Well, it's pretty simple. It's called the Secret Space Program. Not difficult for anybody that has an IQ above room temperature to figure this out. So what you have to look at is several things. One, what the hell are you doing? And as you said, what are you hiding, you turkey butt? Well, they're hiding the fact that we are in deep space. Now, here's the fun part. And this is told to me by some of the ETs I work with. Ooh, did you see what they got? I said, what do you mean, man? And the one ET that's, he's kind of countrified, actually. He said, well, in comparison, you might want to think about it this way. I said, how exactly? You remember the old Model T Ford? Yeah. How well would that stand up against a modern T-Bird? Not very well. Guess what kind of technology they got on there? Oh, we're in deep space. Hey, you lucky to survive. Even the pirates that would go stealing stuff from you have better equipment than you do. And their equipment is not up to date. They have had an up to date or updating of the entire fleets, and there's about 1,500 fleets. They've been updated to the newest technology, and the newest technology is pretty awesome. You can shoot these suckers with anything you want, and it bounces off their shields, period. Atomic weapons, anything that you can think of it, we might have. Guess what? Oops. Now, I have told this story before, but some dink on a scout ship fired their weapons on one of ET's flagships. This is the general. Now, all it managed to do, they didn't have their shields up, didn't think they needed them. But the best that it managed to do was burn a little paint off. Was the very idea that this idiot fired on the flagship pissed ET off. ET said, evacuate everybody from that end of the ship. Why? We're going to cut it off. Do what? Oh, we'll put our shields on. And they did all their goodies and all this happy crap. Well, ET sliced a chunk off of their sausage. And no, they about lost it. They sent out fighter ships. boop, 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 like a friggin' video game. You know, like Bop a Mole. Only when you bop the sucker, it goes back to where it came from, and there's an explosion, an atomic explosion. Whoa. Yeah. Anyway, that only happened once. E.T. said, if, and you got a choice, if you continue to act aggressively in such a manner, we will negate the existence of your mothership. Don't send no more fighters out. Well, somebody got loose with one fighter, and at about the same time it is the announcement. And they said, you know what, we're going to treat this one different. First thing they did was turn all the weapons off. The fighter was, like didn't have any weapons, guns wouldn't fire, and all this, whatever. Secondly, they turned off its shields. Now, being shielded means that a little asteroid or particle from space or something bounces off of it. It's self-protection pretty much. Well, the third thing they did was to weld it solid, the whole exterior. Then they took it and put it back inside the mothership and says, figure that one out. You sure you want to screw with us? You don't have no idea. And at that point, Space Fleet went about its business. ET left. Oh, this caused all kind of fun and games for the military. You mean we're just as defenseless as we've always been? And one of the technicians on the mothership said, it seems to be worse than that. They're demonstrating technologies we didn't even know they had. Oops. It's like the old commercial where somebody does something nasty and this lady in a white Greek outfit says that she's supposed to be Mother Nature. She says, it's not nice to fool with Mother Nature. She points upstairs and the lightning begins to strike. That's the sort of,
I remember that, yeah.
It's a serious problem. It's not a good idea to antagonize, infuriate, fire upon, or otherwise aggressively attack somebody who is totally superior to you. Yeah. Now, ET is not intended to do any harm, so we don't have any reason other than we want to be the big boy on the block.
And they were totally kind because the things that they did were basically non-lethal.
Yeah, well, not only that, but they're one of the prime directives stipulates do no harm. That's pretty simple. It's not complicated at all, I don't think. But
right. But at the same time, you can protect yourself.
Yeah. The right to self-defense is considered a universal law.
Yeah.
Meaning all of the universe, everybody generally has a sidearm of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
I like theirs better than ours, but mine will do.
Yeah, really. I'd like to have one of those. That would be good.
Yeah. Well, I'm working on that.
Well, that's awesome. Anything?
So are we ready for some questions?
Oh, yeah, we sure are. Are you ready?
Boogity woogity.
Well, some of these don't pull no punches, so, but you always answer gracefully, so we Okay, the first question. What is the date of the end of the grace period for the Earth to move into 4D?
The full grace period runs all the way through the end of 2021.
Okay. Well, we're moving along, I think.
But the thing is, that's not an absolute of, that's when we're going to transition or any of that shit. That's just the grace period. The grace period means we won't get into any wars with other planets in the meantime.
Okay. Okay. If about 150,000 plus bad guys need to be rounded up, why is it that job constantly being held up because of one current event that is occurring, such as an investigation to be completed? Come on, Drake. The Alliance has had 5 years to get their act together and prepare for the mass arrest. It's time for the excuses to end and the roundup to begin. What do you say, Drake?
They're beginning to arrest them as we speak.
Thank you.
And it ain't the deal where you get a bunch of cops and you got a chain link fence fastened around it and you go round and around the crowd. It's not that kind of a mass arrest kind of deal. Mass arrest means that you are dealing with a combination of groups for specific reasons that will end up in mass disorientation of whatever they're attempting to do. Interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Okay, here's another one.
Okay.
A while back, you said an investigation on Oprah and her dark activities had started. What is the latest update on her?
Don't have one as of yet, but the problem with Oprah is that she is involved with The View, heavy. And what that means is that without her support, The View goes. So, and Oprah has some dirt under the rug, let's say, that has not been revealed yet that will come out shortly, as I hear it.
I had a picture of her basically offering a young girl, underage girl, to, what's that one producer that got in trouble?
Weinstein?
Yeah, yeah.
What's
Anyway,
up, candy, little girl?
yeah, it was very nefarious looking. Anyway, okay, next question. The Native Americans say that they were helped by the ant people in the past from cataclysmic events. Who are the ant people and where do they come from?
Oh, I ain't gonna tell you where they come from. You might send them a can of Raid, but that wouldn't be very nice. The ant people would appear to most humans quite literally as ants. Now they're on average 6 foot, give or take, standing up. That does not include the antennas. And they look like ants. Now, they communicate on a telepathic basis. They're a very advanced race. They decided on their own now not to comply with the total destruction of each and every last and all of mankind. So they stepped in and assisted.
That's awesome.
I thought so.
Yeah, the poor Native Americans, I mean, they've just been, thank goodness they got helped. Okay. After so much slaughter. Okay, next question. Can we get a video of Drake levitating, please?
No. Parlor tricks are no. Specifically that.
Okay. What are your thoughts on going into or not into the light after death, crossing over?
Say that one again.
Okay. I don't think this matters anymore because of where
Go ahead and talk.
But what are your thoughts on going into the light? You know how after you die, okay, they're talking about going into the light.
Okay.
Or in crossing over. What is your take on that? Let me put it that way.
Well, the whole of the deal is that the light is the intermediary between here and there. And as you advance yourself into it, you are advancing your crossing over. Just that simple. It's no big deal. And it subsides considerably once you start getting to a certain point within it.
Okay, this is what I think that they're referring to, because they're talking about when you go into there's information out there that says when you go into the light, you will probably be met by beings that may appear to be your relatives or something like that, and they actually are not. They're actually nefarious beings that will convince you that you need to come back, reincarnate, and go through this whole cycle again. What I'm saying is that's done with now anyway.
No.
No what?
No, it's not done with. But the transition, that particular transition that's being spoken of, is of a type that is secure, totally secure. Bad guys cannot, and bad guys won't go near it. Put it that way.
But that used to happen.
No. They tried. Hold on a minute. They tried to put that into prophecies and all kinds of other happy shit, and it never would stick. Okay, the transition process from 3D to a higher dimension has always been totally, fully, absolutely secure. It is secured by the power of creation, of which there is nothing bigger, stronger, better, etc. So consequently, you don't have nothing to worry about.
Okay, I agree. We don't have anything to worry about anymore, but I still think that was part of the reincarnation thing.
The incarnation thing is very simple. Well, incarnation is very simple. There's a group, and it's a small group, and it picks who they pick for the chosen entity how they want it to be by the type of life force, the type of spiritual influence, and the type of soul life. There's an energy soul life out there that they want them to have. We need somebody to oh, you can have fun with this. We need somebody to act like Donald Trump all the time or whatever. And this is chosen. It's mandated and chosen both at the same time. You get the very general thing that I just stipulated, but there's a whole bunch of detail that can be added by these people putting you together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So there are those that say that people are choose their families, they choose this, that, and the other thing.
No.
What you're saying is that's not true, correct?
That's not true. Those who think so have been specifically assigned to a particular family for reasons that nobody can stipulate or will. Let's put it that way. These are things that are going to go on in the future because you're a part of that family that normally would not or could not or may not be able to be performed to come to actually without your presence. Okay. And it may not be you that does it. Could be your kids, granny. I mean, you don't know. But without your presence, it won't happen. This is one of the intricacies of timelines. A timeline is composed of a combination of things, this being one of them.
Doesn't that make it seem as though you don't have any control over your soul life or your...
You don't.
Oh, okay. I guess
it's not. Well, you got to understand something. It don't belong to you, first of all. Okay. Soul life is the life force. All right. Soul life is your character that you're put together with. And then you have the spiritual.
Okay, the spiritual life. I get.
Okay, well, hold on. The spiritual is for each and every last individual to discover. That's in my books.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, once you discover that, then your spirit and your reason can work together and go, you probably be doing a lot of the, I didn't know that yet. And the spirit would be going, hey, you do now. And you go from there. Okay, well, how do you understand the manner in which to express something that may or may not directly involve you, but that you're a critical part of happening sometime in the future? Yeah, try to write that down.
Once again, a good idea to read your books, right?
Fun.
Okay, next question. Well, have you ever heard of hopium juice?
Yeah.
Okay. It says, Drake, it's about you. Stop drinking hopium juice. I'm disappointed that you talked about there is no such thing as manifest destiny. What do you mean? I mean, look up and listen to the President Trump's speech, State of the Union speech. He mentions manifest destiny. I meant, what are you talking about?
Well, are you in charge of you? Or is manifest destiny somebody else that decided on what you're going to be and how you're going to act and what you're going to do? Come on. Quick answer. No. Manifest destiny is the same thing. And a lot of people will have fun with this, as predestination. If you allow it, there it is. If you don't, you go on your own way. Your choice.
Okay, he goes on. I dream of myself going to a solar system, an Earth-like planet, Buddy Drake. And you know what? Given the merry-go-round, never-ending life of going to work, eating, and sleeping, I will be looking forward to, or looking for a planet that has the most beautiful and landscape, and be searching for beautiful women living on the island. Given the Space Force our president hasn't acted, I want that manifest destiny of freedom.
Yeah, well, good luck.
Oh,
You
manifest.
you need to decide on your destiny, and that's pie. You got a lot of pie in the sky in this one, and the question should be, what your true and absolute mission is. Why are you here? You two most important days in your life: the day you're born, and the day you find out why you're here. Ooh.
I bet everybody thought you were going to say the day you died, but no. Okay, here's the next question. If
Yes.
you have a replicator, and you want to make something that you don't have, and you have to program it first, are you just shit out of luck? I'm reading it verbatim.
In some ways, you might be. Now, there is a specific thing where you actually describe to the replicator. This is talking to a computer, so enjoy yourself. You think AI's bad? You ain't met a replicator. And here's the deal. You design, draw, describe in every detail what you're talking about in terms of what you want it to make, something you don't have. Well, you must know what it is if you don't have it. That means you might be able to find a picture or something that's similar. I wanted to do that, but I wanted to do this, and this as well. You describe it to the replicator, okay? Now, here's the neat part. The replicator will send a message to the entities you need to talk to about this, and go from there. Ooh.
Okay. Do you agree that real and true freedom means you're being independent of working for someone else, and you're being your own boss and setting your own hours and working whenever you want?
Not exactly. If you have something that you really love doing, no matter what it is, and you could get paid nicely or compensated in a bunch of different ways for doing it. What's your favorite thing? Art? Science? What? Okay.
Like doing
Think
it.
about it. You're going to be working, you can be working 24/7 doing it all you can get away with. Just that simple. So you are working, and this is neat, for the very first time, for yourself. You are expressing your creativity through what you do. Doesn't matter if it's mundane as changing trash cans. There's an art to it, I guarantee you. Okay, so, all of a sudden, you're not working for somebody. You might be working as a part of a consortium towards a very big goal, like building a Star Trek spaceship or some such. But nobody's going to demand that you be there X. You're not going to. That's not a part of it. You are going to tell yourself, "I want to be there at X."
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and that makes sense. If you're doing something you love, you don't care if you're working for somebody or not.
Well, if you're getting greatly compensated, a nice
You
place
got liberty and
a replicator that understands those things that you. I know I'm missing this. I can't think of what exactly it is, but it was in a magazine picture there that
let's see. And he goes on to say, kind of along the same lines, the problem is if we will still have to work for someone else once we get to this 4D or go into 4D, we will have to deal with bosses or CEOs that will treat us like we are work slaves. How will that change? Well, we're talking 4D here, though.
That will all change from at the point of transition from 3 to 4. That all changes. And the reason I know this, that I have had relatives that I really value highly, respect greatly, and was able to talk to them, have a little conversation, ask them. Now they're in 3D. I'm in 3D. They're in 4D, and I was still able to talk to them Read my book so you learn how to do that for yourself. Let's burn up another website.
Indeed. Well, we got the book line and link fixed, and hope it stays that way. My friend said this one should be much more secure than the last few that they kept hacking and knocking off. But anyway, okay.
I honestly don't see the point in hacking something like that when it's free.
It's just being cruel and mean.
Maybe they're wanting to take us to a porn site they like real well or something. I mean, who knows?
Okay. Oh, they go on to say about the CEOs and that they don't care about us and they could get rid of us and fire us and replace us. That kind of thing's not going to happen in 4D.
No. You will have instead of bosses, you'll have what's known as coordinators. And a coordinator would be in your section of trying to help you not only be the best you can be at whatever it is you're doing, but also promote you and promote what's going on, and also intermingle with the others. And you got to remember, think about how many different sciences it takes to build a Star Trek, ship. Okay. Hey man, watch this one. And, hold my beer and watch this. Yeah, right.
Okay, next question. This is an interesting one.
Uh-oh.
In February 1950, a Douglas C-54D military aircraft with 44 people aboard disappeared while crossing the Alaska Triangle. No wreckage or bodies were ever found. Some speculate the plane was captured by a UFO, and others say the plane went into a vortex. Do you have any idea as to what happened to this aircraft?
Yeah, it's was probably pretty wore out by now, but it's like the Bermuda Triangle, or
they had one in Alaska too.
Yeah, well, they got them in. They're all over the place.
Oh, okay.
The gist of it is this, okay? When you fly at a certain in a certain direction over these certain spaces, you open doors that you probably don't want to go through. Well, when you are stupid enough to keep going, the doors will close behind you. And then where you at? Now that's the key. Where you at? ET will come and rescue you from a permanent vortex. That's where you would go round and round in a circle and never come out of it. They'll rescue you from that. I'll tell you right now, anybody who has literally gone through portals or whatever you want to call it, and couldn't figure out why they kept going. There's, this don't make sense. Well, they're right. Doesn't make sense. ET will intervene. They'll snatch you and whatever craft you came in with out of that vortex and put you down real nice and gentle like and say, where were you trying to go? And you say, I don't know, but I'd sure like to go home. We can manage that, They turn your butt around and point you in the other direction. Now you want to hold this speed for this long, then you want to turn the engines off and restart them. Okay. Now that's a quote from a guy from the Bermuda Triangle who disappeared. Aircraft and him gone, right? Okay. They brought him back. All of a sudden he comes flying out of, now think about this. It's not a deal where you're going to end up flying out of a vortex into some different era or year. You're going back where you come from pretty much. And there is always a record of these things. So, all I got to do is just, program it, okay, send, off he goes. And what was funny was he disappeared. They did a search. He come back about an hour later, right? Still got a full tank of gas and everything's cool and everything's operating fine. And he notices his squadron ain't there. So he picks up the radio and says, hey, man, I'm kind of lost. What is this? Yeah, he identified himself, pilot number and aircraft and all that. Oh, no, you disappeared an hour ago. I said, well, I'm back now. Brought him in, landed. They they got detailed reports from the guy. He couldn't really describe much of nothing except for the ETs. I thought they'd all be little green men. These weren't little, and they wasn't green. Stuff like that. It was a pretty neat report.
I see our green man was anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, they grabbed and snatched him up, so he'd be safe. And where do you want to go? Home. Okay. Turn the aircraft around. Stick the pilot back in. Fasten your seatbelt, boy. And he gets all fastened up. Oh boy, here we go. And they take him and drop him back in there. He's going back the other way, right exactly to where he came out from. He's only gone an hour.
Huh. Okay. Before we go on, we're in the middle of the questions. I forgot to mention this at the beginning, and I'm going to mention it now and again at the end, if you don't mind, Rick. And that is on the 20th, which is next Thursday. We're going to have that. We're going to, just before the show, we're going to do from 11:11 to 12:12. We're going to do a Saint Germain Vigil and do Creed. Call in Saint Germain.
You send me that?
I sure will, and I'll be announcing it, and I'll send it to you. And
make sure it gets to where it needs to be. There's a bunch of people that would enjoy that, I think.
Yeah, it would be a good thing.
Yeah,
everybody will feel good, and that's what we want. Okay, next question.
Yeah.
If the people from the military in 1968 knew Donald Trump would become president through Looking Glass, then the deep state probably saw that too. How come the deep state was so surprised when he won in 2016?
Well, that's pretty obvious. They didn't really know. You have to understand that there's a lot of secret projects, and they're ongoing now. There's still a bunch of them out there that are look into things of that nature. Okay, and they're independent. In other words, the deep state don't have nothing to do with or any say over. So there you go.
Okay, because then it went on to say, did they really think crooked Hillary would win with such certainty? And then it goes on, what good is all their secret and advanced technology if they make such a monumental mistake in seeing, planning, and controlling the future? Well, we're glad they make mistakes.
Well, that's what Project Looking Glass was about. They wanted to be able to control the future. That's why it was a future, manner of seeing into the future. Now, here's the fun. All of that come to a very righteous close. 12/21/12. Just like slapping your hands. All of a sudden the screen went blank. Snowy white. They couldn't see shit. And it's been that way ever since. So they're kind of stuck with we got the trick. Oh boy. Now how are we supposed to pick future political candidates and get things going our way when you turn it off on us?
Well, they're in for some big surprises then, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, they're going to be fun.
Well, they're on the way out. They don't know it, but they are. Okay, knowing for almost 50 years you'll become president of the most powerful country in the world and going up against the deep state, that must have been quite a burden and pressure for Donald Trump all these years, with lots of preparations, especially in the last 2 years leading to November 2016. Do you agree?
Well, no, not really, because they didn't tell him until about the last minute. That's about, let's see here, the end of 2015, he started getting briefings about this.
Oh,
and
wow.
He said he hadn't even decided to run yet. And they're briefing him about how to run the presidency. He said, no, wait a minute. Hold on. Back up a bit. We got a problem in the woodpile. NASA, we have a serious problem here. The flight deck's going one way and I'm going the other. And I'm getting tired of being beat against the wall. What are you people up? What's wrong with you guys? Well, you've been drinking some funny Kool-Aid, have you?
You know what a Marine friend of mine called NASA? What that's short for? Never a straight answer.
Yeah, that's one. The thing about it is that he didn't find out, I'll say it again, until the end of 14 and the very beginning of 15. Okay, that didn't give him but 2 years to prep for all this bullshit. They give him as much information. Well, they give him as much info as they could that they knew was correct and would happen. He already knew a whole bunch of this stuff. Okay, they did not go into the futurism of what we're going to end up with or doing. So, yeah. I would have loved to seen a picture of the boy's face when they told him that shit.
I would have too. That would have been precious, wouldn't it?
He got a freaking chin on the desk going.
Talk about a
Yeah,
jump.
that's all, folks. Yeah. So, but no, the capability to see into the future and be accurate with it has been around quite some time. Operation Looking Glass was very, very temporary. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and Donald Trump, I tell you what he's gone through since this, assassination attempts and threats to his family and so on, and oh my goodness.
He hadn't even shot anybody yet. I'm surprised.
Yeah, it's just wow. Anyway, okay. Next question. Do you have any inside information on? Oh, this sounds like the same thing. On how a 22-year-old Donald Trump reacted when told about the important futures as U.S. president. Now, he's saying that he was 22 when he was told this.
Well, that's not quite. He was told some things, and he was really blown away by it. If you go back, there's not many, but a few paparazzi got pictures of him shortly after he was told. And he's wandering around going, where did you get that? He's got what was funny was this, okay? You get all this happy crap from somebody, they brief you, and you're going, yeah, right. And then you say, okay, try this. And they hand the person a piece of paper. And there's writing on there that stipulates something's going to happen tomorrow, right? Don't throw the note away. The writing will change for the following day. Now, you want to screw somebody's mind up, this definitely does it. He reads the note, keep the note because it'll change for the following day. And you go, oh, bullshit. But you keep the note anyway.
Yeah.
He pulled that son of a bitch out the following morning after he woke up and read it. Totally different message. Very accurate. Totally different message. And then they said, same thing at the bottom. Keep this note. It's going to change for the following day. Okay, he keeps it, sucker. So the first thing he does before the alarm goes off, he's wide-eyed, bushy-tailed, and he wants to see the note. Pulls the note out and says, we know exactly what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, who's involved, and the impact it's going to bring about. Don't be surprised if you get a note or two in the future. Now, what was really freaky about this, okay? The note simply disappeared. Totally and completely disappeared. Yeah. And every once in a while, you want to make Trump real uneasy. Ask him about the notes he keeps finding on his dresser. Oh.
But he has a lot of protection too. I mean, he does.
Oh yeah, he's got 5 layers.
And we're not just talking about physical bodies on the ground.
Yeah, I'm talking about a combination of things.
That's right. Okay. Did you know QAnon would come to 8chan in October 2007 prior to its arrival?
Yes.
Okay. Wasn't there a plan in the works to steer events so that the Bidens would testify along with Trump himself in the Senate?
Yes, there was.
At least according to former FBI agent John DeSouza. Now the impeachment ended with no witnesses in the Senate trial. What changed?
It's pretty simple. I'm not testifying. If you force me to be there and testify, you're going to hear a very long diatribe about a thing called the Fifth Amendment. I'm not answering questions. You don't exist. This is bogus. And the Fifth Amendment says so. Next question. I have stipulated that it would be, if you really want to have fun with these turkeys, every time I ask you a question, you say, well, I think I can answer that. How about Fifth Amendment? Don't say nothing else. You can't. I just did. What do you mean I can't? You know?
I don't answer questions.
Yeah, then they come up with another one. You go, Fifth Amendment. And, about the second or third one, they get the picture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's all right. That kind of answers the next question, because it just goes, was there never a plan in the first place for Trump to testify? Well, no, all you have to do is say the Fifth Amendment.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. There are, okay, this is interesting.
Are you sure?
There are plasma, this is a question, okay?
Yeah.
There are plasma chimera spiders in the plasma plane. But where is this plasma plane located in terms of vibrational frequency?
No, you don't locate it that way. And I put it on a detention planet so nobody can screw with everybody.
Oh, okay. Is it a fast, then they went on, is it faster or slower compared to the etheric plane where ghosts are? Astral plane.
Neither one of them is fast. The ultimate speed, the ultimate velocity is the speed of thought. Close your eyes. How quick can you get an image of something? Anything. A different location where you're at. Now, think about this. As soon as you get the clear picture, you're there. How fast is that? Doesn't matter what goddamn distance, 5,000 light years. Stones did a 2,000 light years from home song. If now, what you have to understand is that ideology is the same thing that is used in the modern ET craft, where they go to a certain point and poof, they're gone. Matter of 3 seconds, they're clear across the universe.
Amazing.
And they look back and say, "Yeah, I don't think that fighter jet can get here."
Isn't it that, tell me if this is right, like everyone on the ship thinks of the destination that they're going to, and boom, they're there.
Depends on which structure you use in terms of travel. Some cases there's one person.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So there's a variation in that manner.
Okay. Can a conscious astral traveler access the plasma plane in an out-of-body state?
Why would you want to? I'll answer your question with a question. Why bother? You're at the point of having the capability of contacting the highest service entities to the Creator, so you don't need any of that happy stuff. Okay.
Okay. Because the next question was, what is the purpose of the plasma plane?
There isn't any.
Okay.
And you got to remember something too. What is the size of plasma? Once you understand the size of plasma, and it's expressed to you correctly, the size of plasma comes out as an equivalent of energy that doesn't have any energy. Here's the truth statement mathematically. 1 minus 1 equals 0.
Okay.
It's supposed to be true. The only problem is it ain't true.
Wow.
I'm not going to get into that right now. That's a lengthy discussion, but go ahead.
All right. Next question. How do you go about removing a plasma toplet bomb? What is the procedure?
The plasma what?
Toplet bomb? TOPL?
The plasma bombs have already been removed.
Okay.
Along with several other types that they thought it would be cute to stick on bridges and up people's whatevers and things of that nature.
They asked what the procedure is.
No, you don't.
You don't tell that, okay?
Okay, let's put it this way. When the shuttles came back into our atmosphere, they created plasma along the way. Okay, it is of a certain specific. It's there's about, I don't know, half a dozen specifics that go into that plasma, and none of them have anything to do with catching it.
Okay. Do you help in removing them when you're consciously astral traveling?
And consciously after a who?
They're asking if you help to remove the toplet bombs when you're consciously astral traveling.
Yeah, there was a crew of several million of us that went around our country and others and removed them all.
Awesome. So they're all gone then.
Yeah, pretty much. There may be a couple out there, but they're hidden a lot better than these were.
Okay. Can a human help, or is this only a job for ETs because it's too dangerous and difficult for a human to undertake? Boy, that's grossly underestimating.
You're not going to be able to do it in physical form. You're going to have to go to your spiritual self and then ask that question. At the point that you decide that you want to be involved, and they'll explain things so that you know what you're getting into, then we can go from there.
Okay. Again, reading your books is very helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. What do out-of-body experiences enable you to see regarding ET presence around Earth? Do you go on their ships while you're out of your body?
Everything and anything that you can think of you want to accomplish while you're in an astral form can be done and accomplished, to include having a cold beer with ET or whatever you decide is appropriate.
Okay. According to Cobra, there are trillions of reptilian entities in the etheric plane.
Yeah.
Have you ever encountered one during out-of-body traveling?
Yeah, I used to beat them up for the fun of it. I used to send a lot of them to temporary detentions and all kinds of happy stuff. They're not really very nice. They're not exactly super aggressive. I'd say a cross between a Klingon and a Ferengi would be a close description. Oh, I'm going to hear about that one.
Oh, well. Okay, here's another one. You said you preceded the star seeds and that you were here before creation happened.
Yep.
Then what was here before creation happened?
Nothing but there's about 6 of us entities, and to include the creator. So the creator is the one that had to stipulate that we could be here before creation. But you have to remember too, that word creation is not necessarily absolute, and it has limitations as to, oh, you mean there was other stuff here? Yes. I'm not going to tell you what. You get to be Mr. Explorer, and you need to suck yourself up into your spiritual self and get your muscles built up and go out there and explore. See if you can find your own answers. Ooh.
So once again, read books. Practice that kind of thing, and you'll be amazed what you can do. If you precede the creation, then where and what is your place of origin?
You're gonna have fun looking this one up, because I'm not gonna tell you. What you're gonna have to do is look it up yourself. You need to look up several things. Primarily, red in all its forms. It stands as RED, the initials for something. It stands for applications within the lower frequencies of light. It stands for the light auxiliary that we see when we look at this human frequency. There's a whole bunch of things that goes into this. My principle is that you tell me, if there was nothing there was no creation yet, how could I be from anywhere? Ooh, I'm my own grandpa. You got to watch that.
I got a question for you, Drake. When we encourage people to research and look these things up, there's been so much censorship on the web. Will they still be able to find it?
Mostly yes. You got to really dig. You may have to go through. I don't know. I went through 25 pages of something the other day to find the answer I was looking for. So
Do you use something different than Google for a search engine?
Yeah, I use DuckDuckGo.
DuckDuckGo. Okay.
Yeah, DuckDuckGo is honest about it, whereas Google isn't.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah. Then what was blah, 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 blah. How did you manage to come from a former creation?
Didn't come from a former creation.
Okay.
If you either do, or you either have it or you don't. I was here before creation, at the invitation and placement of the Creator.
Okay.
You got to know what. Okay, there it is. I'll leave it alone now. I ain't gonna say nothing else.
Okay, that's okay. Where are all the rest from your creation now?
Yeah, see, I knew there'd be another one.
I think that's the last one though.
We're still here. I haven't gone anywhere in 864 billion years, so I don't imagine they've gone very far either. Now, the other part of it is that you have to know their name. If you don't know their name, go check me out and you'll find their names. Oh,
Wow.
Fun. I'm having fun with this one. Go ahead.
You can tell. Why do we need all those trade deals like USMCA if we are going to get replicators?
Because we need to show that that we have a certain sense of responsibility toward humanitarian aspects of our existence.
Thank you. Okay.
We want to be good people to everybody, so there it is.
Yeah. That's a big thing actually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What good is it if FISA D-class brings down the House if it happens later in 2020? Elections are shortly after, which will again change the House of Representatives. If Trump wants some more laws to be passed in Congress before 2021, then FISA needs to happen sooner rather than later if he wants
FISA?
FISA. FISA?
FISA is the FISA court.
Mm-hmm.
You talking about the GCR or something of that nature?
Well, then
Yes, Sarah.
Yeah, it didn't really mention that. I don't know what they really want out of this question because it doesn't really come to.
Yeah, I'd say skip it. Go to the next one. Whoever sent, whoever sent that in, revise it so that it makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me either. I thought maybe you might be able to figure it out, but it doesn't make sense. How can the human race ascend to 4 or 5D when satanic human scientists created a diabolical coronavirus cocktail of HIV, SARS, and the swine flu viruses, which is destroying China?
Well, who cares? We can go to 4D. Guess who can't get in? Oops. Now, there's also a bunch that will, and there's a bunch that are already there. And the problem is that we're not going to low-level 4D, which is normal. It would be a normal transition, high 3 to low 4. We're going to high 4D, and we're going to be instructed from high 4D as to what we need to know about 4D in order to transition to 5. What's neat is that none of the bad guys get to go to 5. Just as good guys.
They're going to be stuck where they are, or they're not going. Are they going to cease to exist?
Yeah, they can feed on each other, or however they like.
Yeah, this is all that coronavirus is going to come to an end.
Huh?
I said the coronavirus. They're trying to invoke a great deal of fear in people.
Yeah, they've got a vaccine for it, so an antidote. So there's no reason not to implement it. And he who has antidote should be offered the Godfather deal of brains or antidote.
Yeah. Okay. There's a new act. It's called New Way Forward Act. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Okay. They go on to say this act is absolutely insane. What's really going on, Drake? What's being done to obliterate it?
We've got, I mentioned it in a couple of places, and there should be some nasties about it directly to the people that authored it. Okay. The thing is, what's approved by the House may or may not get past the Senate, and even if it does, Trump will knock that thing dead.
Actually,
Just that simply.
I'm not.
Ain't going nowhere. Huh?
What is it anyway? I'm not familiar with it.
Look it up after the show. It's basically taking everybody's rights away.
Oh. Okay, it is insane.
Yeah,
That's the last thing we want. Yeah.
Imagine that from our illustrious socialist Democrats.
We're talking about getting our rights back, not taking them away.
Yeah.
The ones that want to take them away are the ones that are going to remain here.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the real story behind Kobe Bryant?
He did something he wasn't supposed to and was executed for his trouble. And I'm not going to get into it any further than that. That will come out. It's supposed to come out sometime in the near future.
Okay. Yeah, they said something. There have been a few things said on Quantum Shift that he's escaped and living a life of luxury somewhere, or that he came back to right a wrong, time traveling. Is it one of these or something else? But you're not going to answer that, so we'll just move on to the next one.
You don't need specific information on something that just recently happened that does not have a bearing on what's going on presently. It'll come out at the right time to show more, guilt or whatever in the future.
Okay.
That's how that works.
All right. Okay. You're being asked if there's any recommendations as far as the coronavirus, because someone says, I have young grandchildren and a daughter, and it doesn't everybody. I would use.
It's real simple. You know what they said? Everybody has said this. Wash them hands all the time, several times a day. Does more for curtailing some kind of horse hockey like this bioweapon than anything else I know.
Yeah,
now,
be amazed.
There are some things you can do. One of them is get a hold of a product and take it. It's called host defense. It will keep you from getting sick, period.
Okay, there's a lot of natural things out there that people can use to boost their immune system.
Like zinc.
Okay, exactly. Preferably the natural kind, which is the ascorbate, not the ascorbic acid. Okay. Anyway, what can be used? They talked about zeolite, carbon 60. Those aren't really.
That's all right. It works.
Zeolite takes out heavy metals, because if you're toxic, you're going to be more susceptible. So.
Right. Exactly. That's why bentonite clay for a detox and this sort of thing. It helps.
A product named Nevolite is really good too. I don't know if you know that one. Nevolite.
Yeah.
It's very good too. And then this same person went on to say that their wife works at a hospital and they're being forced to take vaccinations. And I would have to say, is it worth
if the vaccination is after the coronavirus, don't worry about it. Go ahead and take it. How about that one? You know why? All it has in it is 2 items. Number 1, an antigen, the thing that wipes out the little bug that's biting you. Number 2, absolutely purified, clinically pure water. That's it. None of that other horse hockey fillers,
Is that what you were told?
Huh?
Is that what you were told, that they do have that?
That's what I found out was, yes. Not what I was told.
I guess I would have a hard time believing them. But that's just my opinion.
It happens.
Yeah, I would be amazed if anything that came from the pharmaceutical industry.
They don't. No. Back up. This is from the emergency disease centers worldwide. outside of the World Health Organization, Big Pharma, and all those assholes.
CDC, all
different.
okay.
This is
I
independent.
don't trust any of those guys.
Well, what I'm saying is it's clean, clear, and don't worry about it.
Okay. Okay, here's another next question. It's totally off to something else. So many, excuse me.
Yes.
So many people, especially the young, are falling for Bernie and company's empty promises of free stuff and kumbaya being pushed by the socialist Democrats. Will the folly and absolute horrors of the various Marxist ideologies ever be properly publicly exposed?
Yes, they already have to some extent, depending on what you read, where you get it. Now, here's the deal. You got to remember these young people never did nothing in their whole life. Ooh, never accomplished anything in their whole life. Ooh, except the ones that got into college the right way. Got a bunch of them that didn't. And without the experience of a simple, solid basis of finance, they're not going to understand that the free stuff don't exist. Ain't nothing free. There is no free lunch. There is nothing. Oh, free shipping. No. Never
There's always
happened.
a catch.
Yeah, somebody's paying the gas. Somebody's paying gas somewhere to get from A to B. Just that simple. It's not complicated. Number two, Obama was giving away free cell phones. You know how many he gave away?
Mm-mm. How many?
Less than 2,000.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. And it was top of the line, best cell phone you can get. And less than 2,000. People did not want to fool with federal government or Obama. Pretty simple. So, okay, there are ways to mitigate some of the problems that are going on, but not at this time, not to the extent that these people are hollering about being able to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not possible.
I kind of feel sorry for some of our young people because, to tell you the truth, they've been over-vaccinated. They've been eating GMO foods. They've been exposed to chemtrails, more so than some of us older folks that had far fewer vaccinations, at least had a foundation of real food. And so I feel bad for some of our young people.
Is that why they twitch and glow in the dark?
Probably. No.
We have been exposed to the same things. Okay, now
Yeah, but we were already older. We were already older.
That doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, it does, because when you're developing, when you're growing and developing, it does too matter.
No, you don't understand. You don't ever stop developing your brain. Oops.
Yes,
and but when you add chemicals to it, it does things to it, even if you're an old antique like me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know, but some of us practice detox and some of us don't.
Well, I don't run around chasing chemtrail trains going, trying to get a sniff. Yeah. It's like
you're being kind of hard on them, I think, but that's okay. All right. Maybe that helps motivate them. Okay. Here's another one. I hear there's a gag order on uttering the hearsay non-whistleblower's name. What's up with that?
What kind of what's it about?
I don't know what they're talking about there.
Gag order on.
It doesn't say who the gag order's on. It says, I hear there's a gag order on uttering the hearsay non-whistleblower's name.
Yeah.
You know what they're talking about? Okay, I don't.
Yeah, and it don't mean diddly squat.
Okay. How can you get
it's already been out. Somebody's kind of late to the plate.
Okay, because it says, then it goes on, how can you get a gag order for someone who is not granted anonymity?
Or immunity, yeah, well, they're trying to, it comes under the Whistleblower Protection Act. Another crock. Hey, that's another crock of crap,
Okay. How will they know when allegedly nobody knows who it is except for the ICIG? Okay.
Well, the problem is that there's been several people who not only know, but they name names, so it's a bit late.
Okay. What's going on with Christopher Wray being less than forthcoming before Congress the other day?
What do you think? Why would a person do that? They don't want somebody to look down her shirt and see that she ain't got no tits or whatever the problem is. What are you hiding, and why are you hiding it?
Okay. Okay. Well, he just went on to say he was quasi-dodging questions and seems less than enthusiastic about implementing real changes and holding people accountable at the FBI. We need to see people like him being less concerned with saving face and more concerned with holding people accountable. We all know it wasn't the rank and file, but rather the scum at the top. I thought we were supposed to trust Wray, according to QAnon. What do you have to say about Christopher Wray and his job and efforts to effect real changes at the FBI and hold these traitors accountable?
Well, that's pretty simple. Everything's on record at the FBI. Oops. Number 2, you take a gun and you stick the barrel up the guy's nose and you say, which is it? We want full disclosure or your brains. Choose. It's gonna. Here's how this works. As long as they think they can get away with whatever BS they're playing with, whatever kind of horse hockey plans they got, and nobody ever does anything. Now, I don't see things getting done. Consequently, people are not doing anything. So you have to change the rules of the playing field. You take that gun and stick it up nose and you say, you either comply or die. That's where it's going to come.
Kind of sad that it has to come to that. You know that? It really is.
Not really. Depending on who you're dealing with. Now, Comey, I wouldn't give him a choice. I'd just pull the trigger.
Oh, my goodness. What's going on with Mark Esper, DOD, welcoming back Lieutenant Colonel Vidman, a known leaker who goes around the chain of command with open arms?
He's going to be... He's going to be in a room with no window and a desk and unimportant paperwork until it's time for his bony insurrectionist self retires.
Oh, well, you have to ask, why was he even able to, why is he given that gift?
He's not.
Oh.
Can you imagine think about it, you just screwed the Pentagon real hard.
Yeah.
And they're going to put you in an office in the middle of the friggin' Pentagon? Oh, my God. Do you realize how dangerous it would be to get a Coke at the vending machine or eat lunch or get out of there and go home? I mean, geez, man, they're throwing hand grenades at my VW.
I didn't think of it that way. Okay.
Oh, well, think about it. I mean, you're in the middle of the military center of the planet. And all these guys got access to guns of some sort. Oh, hey, look, here he comes. Lock and load, baby cakes. Oh, they probably won't be allowed to shoot him or kill him. But, oh, my God, you can only have the shit scared out of you so many times. And then you quit shitting.
Yeah, I was thinking of that. I was thinking, well, geez, how many different ways could you play tricks on them? And that would be really...
See how much fun,
shall we say.
See how much fun you can have with people.
Okay. Is President Trump ever going to have a complete cabinet that supports his America First agenda?
Going to ever have a who?
Cabinet, a complete cabinet.
Yeah, he's working on that. That's why he's cleaning them out, getting rid of the deep state people so he can have somebody in there that at least tell half the truth and act right.
Okay. These people need to realize they are employees who serve at the pleasure of the elected official we put there because we want that agenda implemented. Okay, that's just commentary. In the same hearing, we had Sheila Jackson Lee obsessing over diversity at the FBI. Are we ever going to dispense with identity politics and go back to rewarding merit rather than skin color, gender, sexual identity as criteria for employment or election for public office?
Sure we are. As soon as we kill all the Democrats, we'd be in good shape.
Well, it's not as though all the Republicans are saints or anything. But anyway.
I didn't say we wouldn't shoot a few of them either.
Okay. One bird, two wings of the same bird. Okay, anyway, then she said that the Black Panthers aren't violent while getting ready to downplay the existence of Black identity extremism. Meanwhile, a very famous example was shown in Chicago when young white autistic man that was kidnapped and tortured by a bunch of Black people. These Democrats are insufferably self-serving. When will it end? I'm going to have to say something on that too. I mean, it doesn't matter. Both races have been guilty of, or all races have been guilty of various forms of racism.
Yeah.
On both sides. So
you have to understand that socialism is not necessarily a cause and effect kind of deal. Being a sociopath, that's insanity. It's not designed to make any sense. No reason. The reason why? Well, probably because a disabled person couldn't fight back very well. Oh, wow, man, that means I can practice my kung fu.
Yeah, sociopathy and psychopathy come in all races.
Yeah.
Okay, a 5-second Google search reveals the fact, here we go. Reveals the fact that Black on white crimes are significantly higher than white on Black crimes, despite Blacks only being about 13% of the population, while whites are over 60%. Well, then maybe we should bring into economics into that picture too. Anyway, we'll go on. Quite the disparity of who does what, especially when you factor in the accounts of available people to commit these crimes. Well, what they're not taking into account right there is, like I said, it's economics. I mean, that makes a difference. But anyway, when is our government going to acknowledge that hate crimes do not only affect minorities, and that's true. It affects everybody, and nobody should be.
Well, one of the things that's going to come up is that they're going to have to identify by race the individuals involved in any crime, no matter what it is. Then the black on white or white on black crimes and all this bullshit comes out. Now, you have to understand that because of the minority level in terms of numbers, the black on white crime generally is pretty much equivalent to black on black crime and white on black crime. They're all three approximately even. So it don't matter. You can have your own brothers after you, slicing and dicing you up.
Exactly.
Just because you talk to a white man. Ooh.
Exactly. Yep. And the other thing about this is that we have to take into consideration is statistics and numbers and things that they say on the media and elsewhere. They can manipulate that in such a way that
statistics are adjusted in order to suit and further an agenda.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. You just shortened it. Thank you. That's what I meant.
That's a quote from somebody. Anyway.
Okay. How are we doing on time-wise? Are we getting too long here?
I don't know. It's 4:53. You tell me.
4:53. Well.
My time, and we started about 3, so. Or somewhere along there.
Okay. Well, we'll just do a couple more, and then we'll call it a day, okay?
Okay. That's fine.
Okay, I don't want to go on in that extremism anymore. I want to skip down to a different question.
Why not? It's in your DNA.
Why doesn't the FBI investigate ideologies, rhetoric, and groups? Maybe if they did, we wouldn't have some of the problems we're experiencing.
They do, and it don't do any good. Why? Because nobody will listen to it. That's why they spend minimal amount of resources and time on that particular subject.
Okay. If we can't rely on the FBI to investigate those things, thus giving such investigations authority and merit, who can we rely on to protect us from violent extremists?
We, the people, need to be armed. When the dumb pulls out a gun, shoot the son of a bitch. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, this has been going on forever. A little old lady, 80-some years old, took an AK-47 and killed 4 of them. Trying to break in her, they broke in her house. They told her what they was going to do to her, and she said, "Oh no, you ain't." Boom, 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 boom. Don't look like you're in too good a shape to do any of that now. The police herald her as a hero.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Hey,
Well, I will be really happy when we get out of this 3D stuff because I don't like
well, that ain't gonna fix all of this. We got to work at it. You just wait.
it. Yuck. Okay. I
Yeah.
hear that Rush Limbaugh's show will be used as part of disclosure. Will his shows become more readily available when that happens?
Yes.
Oh, so that's true?
Yes.
Okay. How
Yeah.
do his recent cancer revelations factor in?
Not terribly, other than the interruption of the broadcast.
Is he going to make it long enough for the transition and medical pods to be released?
I certainly hope so. I'd like to keep that one. He's a lot of fun. You know, hey, when he's not following a script on his show and has a candid conversation with somebody, whoa, you talk about funny. It gets totally hilarious. You had some dummy come on there and tell him that he was some kind of a white supremacist person who refused any rights to anybody but the white people. Oh Lord, you talk about a mess. He Rush Limbaugh dropped his drawers, opened the top of the guy's head up, took a dump, closed the guy's head, pulled his pants back up.
Okay. What did he
It
say?
was not, hey, let me, seriously, as yucky as that sounds, it is pretty much a fairly accurate description of Rush Limbaugh when he gets pissed.
Wow.
Well,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
anything but all those things. So, you know.
I haven't heard anything from him for years and years, but when I first
Well,
started,
he's still running his radio show.
I
He's
didn't.
still got his radio show.
Okay. Well,
I
maybe
like it.
I'll
I
give it
like
a try now. Maybe I'd like him now more than I did when I was younger.
it. Imagine that.
How will Democrats hear it when they find Rush an abhorrent, loathsome person?
They did the who to what?
Let's just skip that question. That's a
Okay.
stupid question. Somehow
Some
I
people
know
don't.
Anderson.
Some people don't make good sense, do they?
No, no.
Okay.
What about TV? Can you tell us who to look for? Will any truth ever come out on TV?
Yeah, it comes out every once in a while by accident on Fox News.
By accident.
Yeah, it's by accident. What you have to look for if you want to understand broadcast news is very simple. When you have something from an official, okay, and it don't matter what level, but something that's critical to a whole bunch of stuff, all right? And what you have to look at is if it's only mentioned once, especially by Trump mentioned it and he started grinning. And that tells me that there's some fun and games getting ready to have. Okay, so if you find something that's mentioned only once, can be mentioned kind of casual like, but only once. But the ideology of it is critical to the existence of everybody's freedom or our country or whatever. Keep an eye on that. That's how they accidentally leak something.
You know what? I was going to ask you about this myself. I read somewhere that Anderson Cooper openly admitted that he was a pedophile and he liked young boys.
How about that?
Yeah.
Now you know.
He has
Now,
the audacity to say
now
that?
you know. Yucked.
Wow.
Boy needs to be in jail.
I would say. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Will we ever see laws and procedures enacted to rein in Congress so we don't have to deal with their hoaxes and BS like fake impeachments any longer and pay for them?
That's going to be taken care of in 5D.
Okay.
We've got to put up with it a little while longer, but not too much.
Okay.
Now, if they actually arrested Pelosi, that's going to be a problem for this impeachment horse shit. Okay, if Schumer runs back there and he gets arrested too, what are you gonna do? Ooh.
What are they gonna do when they come for you?
Yeah, exactly. It's one of them. Please, Mr. Custer, I don't want to go.
Too bad. No.
Yeah.
Neither did all the people that you killed. Okay.
Oh hell, we're going to take Pelosi and Schumer and toss them out there and let the Indians have them.
Okay. Well, I think that's probably a good wrap, don't you?
Oh, that's fine with me.
Okay. Yeah, where it gets too long and then it takes longer for me to get it up. And I know
Okay.
people are waiting to hear what we have, what the latest things are.
I'm waiting over the next up to 3 weeks as to what transpires that I've heard hints and rumors about. I'm waiting. Ooh, I want to see the. Oh man, you would not believe some of the rumors I've heard.
Oh, one last thing before we go that I wanted to mention. Was there anything galactic new and different that we hadn't, that we may not?
Yeah, they reset the planet recently. Might have told you about that last time. They are in the process of trying to figure out how to negate the problems that we're creating for ourselves on a planetary basis, so we don't kill each other. Well, it's called chemtrails.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they got to say within reason here.
Doesn't it seem like some of those planes should just be shot down? Maybe that would stop it.
That'd probably get the message across.
Yeah.
Or they sure as hell ain't listening to nobody else.
Yeah. It's like either, they get escorted and said either you stop and land or we'll shoot you down.
You know what they're trying to tell everybody? That's the new sunscreen for the planet.
BS, yeah.
Yeah, well, how about you drink some of it and tell us how your screened out sun works?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Anyway, okay, we don't believe any of that. Watch for the announcements for the next week's show and for the Violet Flame and Saint Germain, and we will be having something just before the show. I will send it to Cosmic Voice. I will send it to Drake, and we will
get the word out.
Get the word out. All right. Thank you so much, Drake. It was a wonderful time, and we answered a lot of good questions, and hopefully people will enjoy.
Yeah, well, this was fun, and thanks for having me on. Bye, everybody. Now let's see here. It says leave meeting. I click on that. Then I hit the other one.
Okay. Oh, wrong one. Yikes. Where's my other? There it is. I lost my mouse. Thank you to everyone who has sent in donations. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. As you can see, I'm in a new place. It did require the help of some friends, and some friends did step up and help, and I can't thank you enough. Thanks again. My heart goes out to you. My love goes out to you, and we'll see you next week for a wonderful show, and we'll bring in Saint Germain, and we'll do some of his decrees, and we'll do another show for you. Thanks. See you next week.